Hey, it's Eli K. Atlas, and today's video is a big plot twist, because it is not for my fellow artist brethren and sisterin. Instead, today's video is squarely for those who require our artistic services. In other words, that's right, this video is for commissioners. Whether you're a first timer looking for someone to flesh out a concept or fanfic, or an indie circuit professional with a variety of invoices at the ready, there are some very basic things all commissioners should know and do. More on that after the jump. Given that I've done a few videos on artist etiquette in the past, it only seemed fair to do another one, a prequel if you will, because without commissioners to be polite to, there would be no need for artist-client etiquette. Now that that's out of the way, let's jump into it. Say one day you decide, for whatever reason, that you want to hire someone to draw something, anything, for you. What do? How do you start? Firstly, you gotta find someone available and affordable to do what you want. And in a world full of starving artists, that's the easy part. The most important thing for you will be finding someone whose style you love, that you can envision your character in their particular style. There are plenty of great sites out there now, more than ever, that help potential clients connect with talented artists all over the world. DeviantArt, Instagram, ArtStation, Twitter, and zwall.org, just to name a few. Now the hard part. Being that I've worked with dozens of clients who have come to me with some horror stories of being ripped off, or working with gunslingers who take the requests, finish, and barely communicate with their clients, I gotta add a little warning to it. Although it's gonna be hard to exactly tell what kind of artist you're dealing with on a personal communicative level, try and vet them out before you give them a hire if possible. If they've got social media, give them all a look. Are they a generally friendly person? Do they have any other commission works on display, or just their personal stuff they upload? Are their past clients happy, and do they have any return clientele? Good reviews aren't just important on Amazon.com, and all that glitters isn't gold. You don't want to hire the wrong guy who makes great art, but treats you and your project like garbage. Okay, so this is actually technically the third or fourth step, but because it's so closely tied to the first step, it deserves the second spot on the list. Remember I said available and affordable? I wasn't talking about for them. I was talking about you. Let's say you get the preliminary stuff out of the way and find an artist you do like. Find out their rates, how much to charge right away. Never assume someone will do something for free. This video is about commissioning, so make sure you have a budget set aside to complete your project from start to finish, and for whatever revisions or additions you want or need. Every artist prices differently, so I can't tell you how much to put aside, but as a rule of thumb, whatever their base or total price quote is, multiply it by 2. So let's say you've got an artist who's charging $50 for digitally painted headshots. Have 100 dedicated for the project. In the event he also charges for revisions, let's say $10 per addition to the image. You may not end up needing any extra work done and don't end up spending the secondary $50 at all, but at least you were prepared and didn't break the bank or get put in an embarrassing situation
where you couldn't finish the project or left with something you weren't
satisfied with because you didn't anticipate the budget correctly.
And now we backtrack, or step forward, strafe, to the most important part. You found the guy or girl with the perfect art style to bring your idea to life. Now you gotta contact them. But what do you say? Anytime you talk to someone you don't know, it's a cold call. So there's gonna be things you either forget or won't even know to ask in the beginning. Email eases this process immensely, but how do you present an artist your idea in a professional way that makes you attractive to work with? This is absolutely a thing. But also present the idea in a way that makes them need to work on it. Outside talking about all things monetary, of course, I personally always like a client who knows what they want without being inflexible, and asks the right questions, and there really are no stupid questions. My checklist for you, my prospective commissioner, would be: start out with compliments. If there's any work of theirs that made you want to hire them, bring it up. This works in 2 ways. Whichever piece of theirs you reference will ever so slightly inform the style and feel they approach your work with, and it'll also help them to know what pieces of theirs catch people's attention, so they can make more of it, which helps pay the bills. Ask about their availability and if they can or have experience on what you need done. If you have a deadline or need your art done by a specific time, make sure you mention it up front. And if you'd like something that you haven't seen any examples of from their gallery, ask them if they can do it. The answer may be yes, maybe no. There's really no need to be shy to ask. And the last thing about your inquiry should be an inquiry into their pricing, if you haven't already found out on the artist's social media or portfolio site. If you do have a budget or some financial constraints, make sure to bring it up. There's nothing to be ashamed of, because most artists are willing to work with clients to make the magic happen, myself included. If a client can't pay my full fee up front, I'm always the one to suggest splitting the bill up into installments. Because trust me, we artists need the money as much as you want the art. It's a win-win. And phrasing is equally important. How you want to say all of that is up to you. Now, if you have a script that needs illustrating, it isn't always necessary to include it with your initial pitch. If you want to, cool. If not, just wait for them to request it. Personally, I like it when the script is attached to the email pitch, because if it's a really good pitch, I'll want to check out the story right away. But no pressure. Share it at your discretion. Now you're in the swing of things, and I can't stress this enough. Please supply your own materials. Meaning, if you want a drawing made of a very specific World of Warcraft character in a very specific set or level 50 enchanted armor or something like that, make sure you send the artist all of the photos and reading material required to make that possible. As a commissioner, you don't know how much work your artist is doing on your project and how much they might be doing on other projects simultaneously. We don't always have so much time to research all the lore and all the references for all these rare things that you're asking for. And we'd much rather get it right the first time than get it wrong and leave you unsatisfied. And we'd really hate to have to charge you for the time it takes to make the revisions and redraw things. Believe me, it's gonna hurt us more than it's gonna hurt you. And on a similar note, make sure you guys stay in contact as frequently as possible. Now, you don't have to be like a little kid standing at the oven door waiting for the chocolate chip cookies to come out, but maybe check in on your artist every couple of days about a status update. And if they're very reliable, they should be reaching out to you as regularly of their own volition. Your artist should be sharing at least a few pieces of each stage of the progress the art is making, and not just showing you the final piece. So assuming everything went according to plan, and if you're following these steps, they absolutely should, your artist should get back to you after all of that with your wonderful custom-made piece of art, with its brand new car smell. At that point, the artist did what they needed to, you did what you needed to, and everybody is happy. The end, right? Not quite. Try not to forget that us artists are in the service business. The reason that's important to you is because
for your one-time gift of a social media share, you too can feed a starving artist near you.
And by that, I mean, if you liked the service, make sure you tell someone about it. While you don't have to add a tip to your final PayPal transfer, and I've only ever had that happen to me twice in 10 years, by the way, it's absolutely free to give a referral to your friends, family, and followers who like and may be interested in getting some art for themselves. This can work both ways. You help someone pay their bills, and they in turn can and should give you things like referral discounts, sales, and maybe even some extra freebies the next time you work with them. That about wraps it up for this week's video. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you guys thought about this topic in the comments below. For all of my artists, do you think I covered pretty much the basics of getting commissions or receiving commissions? And for all my professional commissioners who do this on a frequent basis, let me know the same thing. Did I cover the bases? Also, for my prospective commissioners who this video is geared towards, let me know if there's something that I missed that I didn't answer or maybe overlooked. If you guys have any questions, you can definitely leave them in the comments below, as always. And on a similar note, make sure you guys leave your comments, suggestions, and feedback below as well for future topics like this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and share. Once again, the keyword for this year is share, share, share. I'm trying to get to 10,000 subscribers before the year is over, and it would be a dream come true to have that happen, and you guys can help me get there. So make sure you share this video with anybody who needs it, anybody who's interested in these type of vlogs or this kind of content, and I would really appreciate that. Also, one more thing to do before you guys get out of here, make sure you follow me on all the social media and sites you're on. I'll have the links right down here in the corner: Facebook, Instagram, DeviantArt, all that good stuff. Make sure you check out my other videos that are pretty much like this on different topics. I'll have the links right up here as well for you guys to check out. And the third thing to do before you guys get out of here, last one I promise, make sure you tune in next week for another episode of the For Future Reference vlog. I do this once a week, and I post another video on Mondays which would be either a tutorial, a speed drawing, or anything that's on my desk. I always share it with you guys. So let me hear you guys' thoughts on this topic below. Just whatever, if you guys have any interesting commission stories, I would definitely like to hear those as well. Those are always fun talking points. What was your first commission like as a artist? What was your first commission like as a commissioner? Let's get some good experiences, some bad experiences, career highlights, career fails. Let's talk about it all. Hopefully you guys found this video educational, especially my prospective commissioners. Again, I hope I covered everything that needs to be covered. That's really important to the basics and the foundation of getting started commissioning art over the internet. I'm sure the process might be a little bit different physically if somebody, needed to, because, everything's a little different over the internet. So you have to have certain kinds of stipulations, rules and contracts in place and things like that, whether it's just written or it's like a very formal invoice or something like that. And maybe I'll do a video on invoices as well if you guys are interested in that, because I've done a few of those over the years. Yeah, depending on the invoice that you create, I kind of have like a stock invoice, and I just kind of alternate between like a big job and a smaller job. Sometimes you, like if it's $1,000 job or a couple thousand, you'll break it up into parts. If it's a smaller job, you can just like get like one invoice and it's straight. So it's no problem. But let me know if you guys would be interested in seeing something like that. Hopefully you guys found the video entertaining and educational. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, and share, all that good stuff. Hopefully I'll see you guys here next week as well for another episode of the For Future Reference vlog. I'll see you guys later.
Sana, sulit niyo sumiyo. At ito sa sana. Sa kanas pa niya.